When we started making the logbooks back in 2019, we just wanted to hear the stories of LGBTQ plus people all across Britain. But we didn't realise that we were actually building a community of listeners. So we wanted to say thank you for listening to us and with us. It means so much to us.
For just £4 a month on our Patreon now, that's only £1 per episode. You can get all episodes of the logbooks ad-free, and you'll also join our inner circle. So you get to hear what we're thinking about and how we're planning the episodes. You get to chat with us about what might be coming up in the episodes. And it also continues to support us such that we can keep all the main episodes on the main feed for free for everyone all the time. So just go to patreon.com/AuntNell.
There are moments that reveal who we are and who we're meant to become. For those born to lead, such moments call for a vehicle of equal distinction. Dynamic by design, uncompromising in execution, the Range Rover Sport was engineered for those rare individuals who demand the world and possess the conviction to claim it. When your time to lead arrives, you need a vehicle that rises to meet it. The Range Rover Sport. Exclusive offers available now. Explore further at rangerover.com.
Some days you just want to amplify your everyday look. Like when you want the look of false lashes without the extra effort. Reach for Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Volumizer Mascara. Or when you want all eyes on your smile, keep Empower Gloss Ultra Glossy Lip Serum in your bag. It's a burst of 24-hour hydration that smooths like a serum, shines like a gloss, and can be worn sheer or layered. You'll always look and feel your best with Thrive Cosmetics. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin, not against it. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
Oh, no.
Adam, if I said Hebden Bridge to you, what would you think?
Lesbians in the countryside.
And lots of bridges?
Yes, bridges, yeah. It's a lovely town.
It is. It's actually really... I've been there a few times, surprisingly. Okay, I've got a fact for you.
Okay.
There is such a high percentage of lesbian/AFAB queers in Hebden Bridge that the local sperm bank is having to take serious steps because they are worried about local DNA contamination.
Oh, wait, because the children of the lesbians that were made using the sperm, they might... get
unknowingly
together with their brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
Okay, or half brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. You're listening to The Logbooks.
We are Tash Walker
and Adam Zmith.
These are the stories of our lives.
Not always about sperm.
Okay, what's the story, Adam?
Tash, I just wanted to have a little feature here about the fact that we are now content makers.
Oh.
I guess we've been making content for years. The Logbooks has been content. But
I mean, technically, I got Facebook when I was at university, so I was about 18 or 19.
The Facebook,
yeah.
But I guess... what we've never really done before is what we're doing right now. We're in a new era for the Logbooks and for Aunt Nell. By those eagle-eyed listeners might have noticed that we are posting videos on Instagram with clips from the podcast now that we didn't used to do before. And that's a way to, continue growing the audience and bring people in. And then we're also posting things on Patreon, obviously because we want people to support the show, and the Patreons that we have really do support the show, and that's great. There's a whole new feature on Patreon that we could talk about, but I guess what we're doing is we're expanding the Logbooks universe. It's not just the podcast anymore. It's we've finally got into the Instagram game.
And also, if you are interested in hearing a bit more about any of the things that we sort of say on this podcast, little offhand quips, what we've been doing is deep diving into those with mini essays on Patreon. I mentioned daylighting the other day. If you want to know more of my thinking around that, then if you sign up to Patreon, then you'll get these little Tash and Adam splurges.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really interesting about this new era of Patreon that we're trying to kind of jump onto is that for years Patreon was not really a platform where you could discover new content. You know, you found out about podcasters by listening to podcasts in your podcast app, or by finding them through clips on Instagram or whatever, and then they would maybe say to you, oh, we have a Patreon, if you want to support the show, go to Patreon. So then you go to Patreon, you support that show. You don't know which other ones are on Patreon unless, again, you come to them via your podcast app or something. Whereas now Patreon is a discoverability platform. So they've just made some changes, including like a timeline, like what X or Twitter used to be, or Facebook newsfeed or Instagram. It's all a timeline. And so that's how you can now use Patreon, is to like follow people on Patreon, and then you then see other people who are making great content on Patreon. So you can discover more people. So people who listen to Bad Gays who are on Patreon are more likely to come across the logbooks on Patreon. So it's really cool.
It's great. Sorry, I'm giggling because I don't think I've ever heard Patreon said so many times in such a short space.
They would love it. They're not sponsoring this podcast, but
not yet.
They would love it. So we're posting these little things called quips, which is like a tweet used to be in the olden days. And so we should also probably we take advantage of all of our back catalogue and like repost some of those things as quips as well on Patreon, because that'll just tell more people about the logbooks. So that's what we're doing now that we're a content farm.
Okay, cool. Let's have a little break. When we started making the logbooks back in 2019, we just wanted to hear the stories of LGBTQ plus people all across Britain. But we didn't realise that we were actually building a community of listeners. So we wanted to say thank you for listening to us and with us. It means so much to us.
For just £4 a month on our Patreon now, that's only £1 per episode, you can get all episodes of the logbooks ad-free, and you'll also join our inner circle. So you get to hear what we're thinking about and how we're planning the episodes. You get to chat with us about what might be coming up in the episodes, and it also continues to support us such that we can keep all the main episodes on the main feed for free for everyone all the time. So just go to patreon.com/ArtNell.
There are moments that reveal who we are and who we're meant to become. For those born to lead, such moments call for a vehicle of equal distinction. Dynamic by design, uncompromising in execution, the Range Rover Sport was engineered for those rare individuals who demand the world and possess the conviction to claim it. When your time to lead arrives, you need a vehicle that rises to meet it. The Range Rover Sport. Exclusive offers available now. Explore further at rangerover.com.
You've got social dialed in. Search is doing its thing. So why do your marketing results look the same as 6 months ago? That's because you're fishing in the same pond as everyone else. Podcast listeners are a different audience entirely. More engaged, harder to reach through traditional channels, and ready to act when someone they trust makes a recommendation. We're Acast, and we put them right in front of you. Browse thousands of the world's leading podcasts, book host reads or run your own ads, and track every conversion in real time. Same skills you already have, brand new results. Acast. Acast.com/advertise.
Tash, I believe the messy middle is yours this week.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Where are you taking me?
I'm taking us to the seaside, Adam.
Oh, lovely.
Did you know that there is an international competition of people doing seagull impressions?
What? Where?
It happens annually.
Okay.
And people
in different
gather.
places?
It moves around, yeah.
Okay.
But it's like an annual competition, usually in like a pub, where people come from all over and they dress up as seagulls.
Amazing.
And do these really quite incredible seagull impressions. I was really impressed.
Is that where are we going to the seagull impression?
No, we're
contest?
not. No, that's coming later.
Oh my God. Okay.
In the season.
You can't just build me up like that.
I'm so sorry. But what I actually am going to take you, I'm still taking you to the seaside. I jumped on a train. It was the first heat wave that we had this year at the end of May. And I headed down to Hastings, which is a lovely little seaside town.
Yeah.
Because the Hastings Queer History Collective have just had just launched at that point a new exhibition at Hastings Museum and Art Gallery called Lemons, Laws and Secret Doors.
Okay.
And this wonderful queer history collective had curated and put it all on themselves, and they invited me to come and have a look at it. So I met with two of the collective, Victoria and Mark, and they gave me a personal tour, and it lasted for hours and hours and hours.
Wow.
And it was amazing. Honestly, it was so great. I found it so interesting, so impressive. I loved the community collectivity vibe of it. Really felt like it grew out of Hastings and Hastings specific history. And yeah, it was an amazing personal tour that they gave me.
Is it all about the queer history of Hastings?
It's centred around Hastings, but it bleeds out wider as well.
Okay.
Hastings has a very specific kind of queer history, and so where that's not met by other communities, then they explore that through creative interpretation. So one of the collective had some tea cozies made by people from different parts of the world and different heritages outside of Hastings to be able to reflect that wider reflection of queer history. But then there are some very specific Hastings items in the exhibition, but I don't need to talk any more about it. Best thing is to hand over now, well, to me, but past me with Victoria and Mark. And just to let you know, this was a snippet of my time there. But I would really, really encourage people to head down. It's so amazing, and the exhibition is on until the end of August.
Great. Let's listen now to you and Mark and Victoria at, I'm going to say the exhibition name again because it's so good, Lemons, Laws and Secret Doors.
So I have just arrived in Hastings, and it is Friday, the first day of this incredible heat wave that we are experiencing. So it feels like the perfect day to head to the coast. I'm very happy for this. But I'm actually here to not spend time on the beach, although I will definitely be doing that later. I'm here to go to Hastings Museum and Art Gallery. So I'm just going to head down now and meet some amazing people behind the most recent exhibition that they've got on. Oh, I didn't expect it to be up such a big hill. And it is hot today, and I am sweating, and I feel like I should be running down the hill straight into the sea, but I should have to wait. Because I've just got here, Hastings Museum and Art Gallery, free entry. And there's a big poster for the exhibition I'm going to get a tour of. Lemons, Laws and Secret Doors, a Hastings Queer History Collective exhibition. And it's on until the 30th of August this year. And there's an amazing picture of like quite a mask presenting person on the outside with like slicked back hair and a great white shirt rolled up the arms, and then a sign that says Hastings Old Town. Okay, I'm gonna head on in. Oh, so many nice birds, such a nice day. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So nice to meet you both and see you again, Mark.
Yes, it was a fantastic workshop in Folkestone not so long ago.
We don't need to go into that now. So I actually didn't realise it was up such a steep hill on such a hot day. So I'll be running to the sea later. But this is an amazing building, isn't it? Do you know the history of it? Actually, I'm putting on
there's
the
a plaque
here.
behind me.
Oh, great.
It was built in 1923.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then reopened in 2007.
Look at that. That's great. 2007. Okay, well, thanks so much for meeting me here today. I'm really looking forward to seeing the exhibition. How long has it been on for now?
It was the 25th of April.
Yeah, so we've just had its first month and it's open until the 30th of August. So plenty of time for people to come and visit.
And how's it going? Lots of people
Amazing.
coming? Really?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be able to see there's some visual representation of feedback within the exhibition space, be able to see just the sort of scale of it, but we've had so many visitors. Weekends it is packed.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
The feedback has been incredible.
Okay, great. Well, let's go. After you two, I'll take your lead. Welcome to Hastings Museum and Art Gallery. I love a creaky floorboard. Not gonna lie.
And there's lots of nooks and crannies in this building.
Yeah, there are. It's like loads of stuff on amazing, very old swimming costumes.
Yeah, some inspiration for your dip in the sea
My
later
dip
on.
later. Lemons, Laws and Secret Doors, a Hastings Queer History Collective exhibition. Tell me about the name, Mark.
So we arrived at Lemon's Law's Secret Doors after quite some time of debate within the collective about variations on the title. Lemons refers to lesbians, so it's a code word. It's one of many code words that are used throughout the exhibition and throughout Hastings' queer histories. But it was a way of the community coming together in straight bars in the 80s and 90s and easily referring to lesbians without hiding anybody. Laws is really important to us. There you can see on vinyl stickers throughout the exhibition different laws that impacted on queer people and key legislation for us right, to the present day that we wanted to highlight as part of how all of this exhibition exists in balance with challenges to queer identities and to queer people. Secret Doors is something that's very important when talking about Hastings queer histories and possibly other towns as well. But in a lot of the oral histories that we completed as part of the exhibition, people told us about queer-led meeting spaces in the town that weren't advertised, they weren't public.
So word of mouth.
Word of mouth, exactly. But they were spaces where people came together, they organized, they made friends, they made connections, they were able to exist freely, safely, and in queer joy. And so we have those sprinkled throughout the exhibition as well.
So nice. And Victoria, you were saying earlier that actually the word lemons goes all the way to Australia as well?
Yeah, we found references of it everywhere. I mean, I remember growing up and hearing it, but it certainly wasn't always a positive word.
Yeah.
It has dabbled in sort of slur territory, but it's definitely something that we've become super fond of within the collective now, and that's represented in elsewhere in the exhibition, but also in our merch. We've got wonderful t-shirts that says Hastings loves a lemon.
Yes, I saw earlier.
It's just really, really great. So yeah.
So good.
Keep that going.
And then maybe could you tell me a bit about Hastings Queer History Collective?
Yeah, so as we come down into sort of the exhibition space at the entrance, you're greeted with these amazing 11 sort of drawn portraits of the collective itself, done by one of our collective members, Kamara. And they're just gorgeous little snapshots of folks in their sort of natural stances, I suppose. And really the significance of that is that we're all sort of queer people living in the town. That's what the collective is about. But everything you sort of see here today in the exhibition is shaped by our own identities and our own perspectives, and that we're not separate from the queer heritage here. We are part of it. Yes. And that is such a
I love that. Yeah.
This isn't sort of a record of everything queer that happened from 100 years ago up till now. It is directly things that we've responded to, that have caught our eye, that we found throughout our research. And that means something to us personally. And I think that's a really important framing for the entire exhibition. It also means that there's, I would hope that you would leave the space going, oh, there's so much more out there. Like, I want to find those things. I want to speak to people and find those stories that are untold as a beer. And also it's great. It means there's so much more for us to do as well.
And also it's really great to walk in here and see these faces and see the collective that have helped to facilitate and create this exhibition. And, you were both saying to me at another point that this is the exhibition that can only exist now in this moment. It will never exist in this same form ever again. It never would before. And that in itself makes it feel very exciting as well. It's got that real fizzing energy to it. Well, actually, I haven't asked you to, how long have you been part of Hastings?
So I was born here.
You were born? Oh my God, amazing. Because I was talking to the amazing person on reception who was saying she's been here for 11 years.
Right.
So she's not, she's not like an actual Hastings, but okay, great.
I'm a true
wow.
Hastings. Yes, I was born here many moons ago. And I guess that's part of why this means so much to me. Not just this exhibition, but the space as a whole. Like the museum itself, when I was a child, was sort of a safe space for me. I would come and spend my entire weekends here, sort of avoiding, I guess, sort of like heteronormative, sort of cisnormative folks that I grew up around, and just sort of came here as a place to sort of find solace. And what's really nice now is that we find people doing that within the exhibition space. That means so much to me. You're
creating a world you should have grown up in.
I mean, it's I always felt like it was here.
Yeah.
It must have done, I suppose.
And now you
But
just pulled back
it's
those curtains.
It's nice for it to actually be here. And the museum's a key part of that. I run Transcribe Hastings outside of my collective work, and we hold our main festival event at the museum itself as well, on the ground as well. Again, to sort of just strengthen that connection.
Love that. What about you, Mark?
I didn't know that about, I didn't know about your childhood connection to the museum as well. It's really lovely.
Yeah,
it's
I
really
love this
powerful.
place.
So I lived in Hastings for 6 years.
Okay.
I arrived here for the very first time on Jack and the Green, which is another.
I have been to Jack and the Green. I came last year, was it? Yeah, or the year before. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was my introduction. As a fan of the original Wicker Man film, that was quite an introduction to Hastings. And I also met my partner here, and have really good friends who live here. So it's become I love Hastings. It's become a chosen home to me. And I am a newer member to the collective, so I joined about a year and a half ago.
Okay, great. Well, let's dive into this exhibition. I can't help but be drawn to the first thing on the right here, which it obviously has a telephone, and so I'm completely intrigued. It looks like some kind of helpline. Mark, could you tell me a bit more about it?
Yes, so this is a piece that I created called Hastings Befrienders, and it speaks to it tells the story of a grassroots-led helpline for gay people. It was established in 1987, entirely funded by the community, and entirely run by volunteers. So what we can see is a table, and on the table is a quote in red: "My generation of gay men pulled off a blinder alongside the party, and there was a very serious fight on for life against bigotry."
Wow.
And it speaks to how having access to this phone line for just 2 hours a week on a Friday night from 8 to 10 o'clock was a real lifeline for people who might be on the other end of the line. Whether they're speaking on the other end of the line or not is something that I touch on in the book that's on the table.
So this, I mean, the cover is brilliant. It's kind of like, I don't know, like an 80s style, brilliant cover, but it's full of typewritten notes that look like logbook entries.
Yes, so the actual logbooks for Hastings Befrienders no longer exist, but I wanted to have a twist on the logbook by telling the story of Hastings Befrienders through snippets from oral history interviews, clips from old newsletters that I was able to find, and I've been able to tell the story of Befrienders from inception through to its launch, and then the reality of being a 17-year-old volunteer called Sean, showing up every Friday night for 2 hours when everybody else was out enjoying themselves, in a bare rented room that I've recreated here, being someone at the end of a line to support people, whatever they're calling for.
And speaking of a line, there's this amazing army green phone. I feel like I should pick it up and press some buttons.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're invited to do.
So yeah, we'd write down things, good or bad. I wouldn't hesitate to put how I felt about the call, if it was relevant, and that may help someone who manned the call at a future date as well, to know that there's whether or not patterns are emerging of people making our lives difficult. Believe you me, there were some not very nice calls coming through. Thankfully rare, but you did not want to hear them, because it only reminded you yourself that the world has not moved on as fast as you would like.
But there was a burgeoning of a sort of commercial gay scene in London and Brighton, and a general feeling of freedom. But of course, it was in those years that the horror of AIDS started to make its self-presence. And so it was if, we'd just got to the party and the party was really getting going, and then the police raided. I suppose that's what it felt like.
So what did I just hear there?
So you heard excerpts of interviews with Sean, who was the volunteer on the
Amazing.
Hastings Befriender line. So Sean very generously met over the space of about 9 months and shared his recollections of working on the helpline. You'll also will have heard the voice of Andrew, who was another queer community organizer, who shared a little bit of context about the foundation of Befrienders and what was happening in the queer community at the time.
Brilliant. Great. And did Sean come to the opening?
Sean and Andrew came to the opening, and it was fascinating to see how Sean interacted with this version of his story, and how, with decades having passed in between, how he was able to own that the time and energy that he gave as a very young person to making this possible, and to be able to see it through a different lens 40 years on.
That's so interesting, because a lot of people that I interview or speak to, especially about what they've done when they're younger, they just say, well, I just did it. You know, the phone kept ringing, or I didn't really think about it. But actually, on reflection, I'm often in position to someone who's younger saying, wow, what you did meant so much. They're able to actually receive that back. And that's really a powerful point of connection between generations as well.
And as a young gay man, whenever he was acting as a volunteer in this line, it was still the time of Section 28.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, Sean was given so much of himself to this line as a solo volunteer, but was really keen to just get out and start living on his own terms and partying. He was an out gay, a young gay man, but there's something really lovely in the story, in the book that he shares, about how when he got his driving license, he was out of there, like he was out of Hastings so fast, and he was off to live his life. He felt like he'd done his time, and to hear him talk about how he'd done his time, and he was only like 20 by then.
Wow.
You know? There's something
Amazing.
really powerful in that.
I really love as well. I just want to point out the clock on the wall. If you look at it, it's slightly different to a typical clock.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. I did not notice that at all. 8, 9, 10 are those hours that the helpline was open?
Yes, so they're the hours the helpline is open, and again, it's a call to, you know, so we have the kind of anaglypta wallpaper that was ubiquitous in the 80s and 90s.
Wallpaper.
We have a plastic green fern that was in every kind of rented office space that there was, and Sean would come to the Hastings Befriender space, and there wouldn't be anything there. This was like pre-mobile phones. Yeah. He had to be ready to answer calls, and he had to be in the zone answering them. And if he didn't have his wristwatch with him at the time,
he didn't know what time it was.
Yeah, and his only reference was this clock, and he counted every minute of those two hours. So this is a playful reflection.
Amazing. It kind of reminds me, I was a volunteer at Bristol Switchboard in 2005 to 2007, and it was just me in a rented room with a telephone. And I was so young. Slightly different period of time, but it's bringing back those memories.
I was able to access the space where the line ran from. It's not too far from here in Cambridge Gardens, and not much has changed in all of those years. And there's a photograph inside the book, but they very generously let me in, and I was curious about which room it might be. We found the room, and the clock was still there on the wall.
Wow.
Everything that Sean had described was still in place, and it gave you a really strong sense of the mundanity of how community organising is really essential, but it can also be really mundane, and it's that dedication to putting the time in, and staying there for other people, you know, that we're experiencing the legacy of it now.
Yeah. All the stories and the atmosphere of that room that you were breathing in. And so then what's this? We've got this amazing big pinboard with loads of bright coloured cards.
So speaking of community organising, this is our community notice board, and it's full of brightly coloured cards that you might have seen sort of back in the day in a supermarket, perhaps, with like for sale signs or
that's so true.
Cat wanted. And it's a way for us to sort of show things that aren't necessarily in the exhibition, but also things and groups that are going on now. And we invite people that come into the space to, if they're running a queer book club, for example, or support groups, or there's life drawing there, to write a card out or put a flyer up and just put it on display so that folks that come to the exhibition can see and connect with other queer people and other events that are happening in the town right now, today. So this is very sort of like current, and in the middle we've got a bright yellow piece of paper that has all of our events that we've got coming up surrounding this exhibition. So the exhibition is really just the start of what we're doing. And then we've got 2 events every single month up until the end of August, including things such as panel discussions, workshops, performances. We've got an amazing late night at the museum, which I'm really excited for.
Cool.
It's called Queers After Dark. Where we're opening the doors to the museum after hours. We're changing a lot of the content within the space, bringing in some of the more sort of sexier items, I suppose.
Picking my fingers.
Lining it differently. There's going to be performances, and that's going to be a really cool and fun way to experience the exhibition again. So it's one of those things that's in the space at the moment that is constantly changing. People are adding to this all the time.
I love this.
And just a really great way to connect with things happening in our town.
Oh my God, so good. And the grand finale, performance party at the end.
More info on that coming.
Okay, there's a massive pheasant. It's got queer icon on it. And there's some people who I just really would rather were not in this world.
Yeah, we can chat about that. So we're looking at a giant poster of an illustration of a pheasant with the words queer icon written next to it. And this sort of stems from a previous project that we did with the collective, which was a queer history trail. So we made a map that took you throughout the museum with pieces that were already here and have always been here. But we sort of shone a light on some of the queer histories that were associated with those items that maybe weren't represented within the museum. So it's a really fun, interesting way to explore the space as it already stood. One of those items was a taxidermied pheasant that existed in the natural history part of the museum. And within that piece, we spoke about how female pheasants, often in later life, change the colors of their feathers to male colors, and they stop laying eggs and things, and they essentially sort of socially transition. And we love that. I think it's just kind of before the sort of more recent deep dive. I think that places are done into sort of queer queer things within nature. However, this got picked up by a lot of press, a lot of maybe
the Daily Mail
press, like the Daily Mail. And ultimately found its way into the hands of everyone's favorite transphobic author, J.K. Rowling, who tweeted that she was having queer pheasant for dinner, which was wonderful. So
I actually love that you put the tweet on here as well. You know,
I thought it was important. Now, we did talk about it because we know that that's sensitive. But we did think it was important and part of the history of the item.
And that's exactly what I think, Victoria, because I was talking to someone else about something unrelated to this, but it speaks to the same thing, which is unless we record the hate that we experience as a community, what happens to that in the history books, right?
Exactly. I think there's often a movement to sort of cover that up or hide it as a way of protecting others. And whilst that is important, like you say, it is a key part of the history. Sadly, the pheasant itself was not sort of robust enough for us to move from the natural history part into this space. So we've got this wonderful illustration instead. We're selling T-shirts as well. That's
so good. It's
and
so
all
good.
of our cushions are decorated.
Oh my God, they're amazing. I love it.
Yeah, really a beloved piece of Hastings Queer History Collective history.
So good. And then I'm going to walk directly here into the middle because we've got this amazing sculpture, art creation. I mean, you guys tell me what it's about, but it looks like recreations of protest banners.
Yeah, so this is a commissioned piece. We knew that when we were putting the exhibition together that we wanted a sort of central artwork that was not made by the collective itself. And so we did an artist call out, and Emma Franklin is the artist who was successful in that and created this amazing piece for the Sign of the Times. And essentially what it is a big pile of hand-painted protest signs from throughout the ages, including sort of messages and slogans that we suggested as well from our research.
Okay,
And then all sort of mashed together, sort of some of them are chopped in half and combined with other signs. And it's this wonderful collection of resilience, of power, of protest. I mean, some of the things that you've got on there, the sign says not a debate, or a day without lesbians is a day without sunshine. Sissy power, silence equals death, no justice, no peace.
So and it's speaking a lot to like where we are right now when it comes to protest and politics.
And I think it's what I really like about it is the collection of it all together. So there's things here talking about the AIDS crisis, or talking about lesbian resistance. Big sign in the middle that says trans women are beautiful and sacred. And there's a Free Palestine sign down there. It's the way that all is together, that you can come here as part of a very specific subsection of a queer interest space, but to see the same fight, the same struggles represented next to our siblings that are going through sort of similar things. It's a beautiful piece. It's so colourful. It's massive.
Yeah, it is.
Which is also wonderful.
It's taking up space. And it makes me think that, that we can't win this in isolation. We have to fight together. And when we realise that, the common, the enemy that we're all standing up against, it becomes so much smaller. And that's where the resilience comes from, and that's where our future comes from.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And I think even with a lot of the signs being sort of really quite serious and quite impactful, that's not the energy it gives.
No, it
gives
doesn't.
Me so much joy.
It doesn't feel aggressive.
No, not at all. And yeah, I adore it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
I want each one. I want to take each sign home with me.
So if any disappear, then you know why and where.
Yeah.
It's a real cult of presence as well, because lots of the places that are named on some of these placards, like the Basement, which was one of their secret nightclubs, that would have never been a public-facing sign.
Yeah, of course.
But it's instantly recognisable to people who've been there, or to us, having heard these stories.
It's like an imagined sign in a way.
Exactly, yeah. And there's a long list of other places. And I think
I remember some of these. These are in London.
Some of these were outside of
Palace.
So it's a big sign for the Lost Spaces, and yes, Blades is on there, Sarah's, the Spinny, goes down into places in Brighton, London, all sorts of places that are maybe no longer with us, but had sort of a significant impact.
They're bringing back some very old memories for me. Can we go to this section of the exhibition? Because I really recognise that photograph from the sign outside.
Yeah, so this photograph, which is a photograph of Uncle Vic, is our lead image for the exhibition. And this archive, which consists of lots of framed black and white photographs, with a colour photograph, and then a display case with lots of ephemera. It tells a story of Uncle Vic and Auntie Joan. It's the first time this archive has been shared. A local community member came to one of our events where we asked people to bring a queer object and tell us about it. And Joel, who was the nephew of Uncle Vic, brought a wedding ring in its display box.
And you've got it here on the display.
Yeah, we
That's quite a solid wedding ring.
It is a pretty solid ring. So Joel told us the story of this wedding ring and how it belonged to his Uncle Vic. And how Uncle Vic had lived as a trans man with his Auntie Joan. And this is, looking at these photographs, it's a very domestic existence in Hastings. It tells the story across decades and highlights milestones in their life together. But it's actually a really powerful story of us as queer people being here, living here, thriving. If you look at some of the ephemera, there's a scrapbook with lots of
crazy golf.
Kind of fun moments, holidays, laughter. There's a love letter here from Joan to Vic. There's the camera that they used. And there's a copy of their marriage certificate. And in fact, later the authorities used this marriage certificate, which is the original, to fine Uncle Vic and Auntie Joan, ruling their marriage as illegal. But this is a tangible trace that they thrived.
That they thrived, and then they got married. And what's 25 quid when you do that, right?
Well, £25 each.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course.
They took a 50 quid hit on that. But it's an amazing feat.
I want to talk about the photo. So the photo of Uncle Vic, which is the image that you've used for the exhibition. I mean, he looks amazing. He's sort of so chill but dapper, slicked back hair, white shirt, opened, with probably what looks like a vest underneath and rolled up sleeves. But there's such an expression of comfort I can see in his skin, which is really amazing and powerful. And this whole section is really moving. I'm finding it very emotional looking at it, because there's the domesticity about it. There's all of these classic images of what I only am used to seeing, cis het people representative in a marriage picture from this period of time, like a picture with their dog wearing really generic clothing. I don't know, it's kind of amazing. It's really moving because it's so rare that you look back in history and see anything that looks like you or anyone attempting to sort of express their gender in this particular way.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting in that sort of like, to us, sort of hearing this story, obviously the transness of Uncle Vic is really important, and that's an amazing thing as a trans person in the town to see that, like, oh my God, this cousin lived a whole life happily right here. But actually, when we look at the pictures, then we've got pictures of Vic at work and on his wedding day, and as he said, in the garden.
With the dog, like, peeking out of behind the window. It's so good.
His transness is the least important
Totally.
of this story, right?
Yes.
I really love it. It's all really casual.
Yes.
It's like super handsome. And it's just, it's rad. I love it.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. That's such a really amazing point. And he died in 1921, so he was walking the same streets that you were walking.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
The other thing that I really love about this is we discovered this by chance.
Yeah.
So Joel coming to that event by chance, talking to Remy. Remy's a collective member. This really caught Remy's imagination, and as a result, for the first time, this personal archive is being shown. And it's a real call to, like, scratch the surface and see what's there in your own family, and where are your queer family members in your expanded family.
It's very queer though, isn't it? All this accidental finding and connecting in itself, it feels very queer than like extractive, which is obviously that I know that I can see that that's been embedded within the whole exhibition, not to be extractive in any way. But I was just really struck by that.
It's where do we put these stories?
Totally.
Right? They live within memories. They live in attics. They live in sort of conversations, and they disappear in those places too.
Yeah, totally.
We've been very conscious throughout the whole process of curating with people and not being extractive, but telling the stories and versions of the stories in ways that center them and their perspectives as well within the wider story of Hastings queer histories.
It's so, the power of seeing just something, like looking at these photos, if I saw these photos, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fine. It's like a person who lived like what looks like a really happy life. But to know about Vic and how Vic was living, it just changes them to being these most amazingly radical, everyday, beautiful existence of someone not only surviving but thriving. And that is just such, like, it feels like a message sent from the future via the past to the present.
And like so many people, Uncle Vic and Auntie Joan chose Hastings as their home.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
okay.
they came here on their honeymoon, and that was that. Their decision made.
Wow, meant to be. Victoria, you have to talk to me about this dress. I can see it, like, sort of calling me from the middle of the exhibition.
Let's do it. I have to say this is one of my favorite pieces in the exhibition because it is one of my personal pieces within the exhibition.
So good.
What we're looking at is part of a sort of wider display of Clothing as Resistance, it's called. It was put together by myself and another member called Serge. And the centerpiece is this long black flowing dress with the words "Save Trans Kids" embroidered across the front. And it's actually my dress. I wore it at Transpride Hastings in 2024. It was our second year.
Amazing.
I worked on it specifically with Louise Gray, who's a fashion designer, because I wanted to sort of, I guess, have a little bit of personal protest to really speak in a way where just photos do the work for me about what was happening, particularly with trans youth at the time in the UK with restrictions to healthcare. It's also one of the most gorgeous things.
It's amazing.
Ever seen.
It's black, and then it's got this lace sash that looks sort of sachets its way down the dress that says "Save Trans Kids" on it. And I really love what you just said then when you said I wanted to let the photos do the work for me. And that, I've never thought about that before. It makes me think about, like, visibility in a really different way.
It's something that lives on beyond, like, it was great having this and then people wanting to talk about it, or, there was a lot of conversations around things. And I spend a lot of time within my work campaigning for trans rights and doing activist stuff. But actually, on a night that was just a celebration to do a trans pride, there's hundreds of photos of me in this thing. And without saying a word, without being in the room at the time of someone looking at the photos, this is doing that work.
I love that.
And specifically as well, it's not an uncommon slogan to see, but normally it's protect trans kids. That is the typical one.
That's so true.
And actually it was very important to me to change it to say, because I actually felt like as a society, we had already failed trans youth. And it was no longer a case of trying to protect them. We now need to step up and actually save them from the situation that they're currently in.
Yeah, that's a very, very important point. And it makes me think about clothing on a wider sense, especially what you were saying about this is a day of celebration. The dress is iconic. I can only imagine how amazing you looked in it. But what we do with our clothing and how we express ourselves via it and what we're saying.
Yeah, and that's exactly where this sort of piece expands into. So flanking the dress either side, we've got pieces of clothing / artwork from an artist called Taylor Bystrom, who was a trans guy who lived in Hastings. He no longer lives in the States now. But myself and Serge, before we knew each other, before we were friends, before we were part of the collective, had picked up these various pieces of clothing from charity shops.
Oh, wow.
We just found them. We rescued them.
Right.
As it were. And there's
I
also
thought you were going to say that you sought them out online.
After the artist had left,
Wow.
a lot of their stuff was just kind of dumped into the town. I'm now very good friends with Taylor, but at the time, this was just stuff that spoke to me. And we've got a few things here. We've got like a hot pink hockey top. This is normally what I would wear all through summer, and I'm really sad that I can't this year because it's in the exhibition. And we've got a zip-up jacket and then a sweatshirt as well, and all of them are covered with symbols of teeth.
Yes, I see that.
Actually, Serge and myself both have tattoos by the artist before he left the country of teeth.
Stories on your skin as well.
And the reason being is that, and it's really signified by the sweatshirt, which has in big block letters on the front, trying to get trans rights is like pulling teeth. Something that, my God, was really pertinent at the time when this was made, but when we think about it now, it's like pulling all of your teeth.
Yeah, totally.
So we've got those wonderful things, and then alongside that as well, we've got one of the t-shirts that we actually
Hastings loves a lemon.
We made this for the exhibition. You can buy it as well at the merch shop. But on top of that, we've got a denim jacket that's covered in badges that span sort of 50, 60 years. And really sort of generational. These have come from personal collections of people in the collective or donations, as well as ones that we've made ourselves over time. We've got ones by Louise Gray there.
Yeah, that one's great.
Queen.
What's your favourite?
My favourite, I don't actually, who doesn't love an ACAP badge?
I know.
You know, we got to call it out.
Yeah.
There's a few on there. There's one there.
Safe
With Me badge. I made a lot of these. So the
I love that one. I also love this HRT of Darkness. It's just brilliant.
It's a really lovely thing, and I think it's such an easy way of expressing messages that we want to as queer people. And sometimes they're ones that empower us, sometimes they're ones that affirm us, if it's a pronoun badge or something like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're just messages that we want people outside of the community to see.
Yeah, totally.
And so I really love that. It's something that will never stop, I'm sure. And it's really lovely to have this little collection.
Yeah, it's so... Oh, this one's great. How dare you presume I'm heterosexual?
Yeah. Fabulous. Obviously, protect the doll.
Yeah.
Defy Section 28. Silence equals death.
Out of the closets into the streets.
Yes. Beware the lavender menace.
I think I actually just found my favourite, which is this one that says "Off the Kinsey Stirrer."
So good. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Okay, that's great. Amazing. Okay, where are we going next?
So we're going to gently guide you over to a seemingly innocuous brown door in the corner of the gallery space.
I didn't even notice that.
This is our Easter egg, and this is how we hope people will experience it. So again, secret doors being part of the title of our exhibition.
Yes.
Hastings was full of secret doors, and in fact, some of these queer-owned bars opened and closed so quickly that we, even in the oral histories that we've been collecting, just get snippets of what it was like inside of these places. Some of them were quite well managed. So the Palm Beach Hotel had the basement.
Okay.
And the basement ran on a supper license, so it meant that queer people who were staying in the Palm Beach Hotel, an unofficial gay hotel, could have a late night in the basement and have a plate of sausage and mash come 12 at night, so that the place could stay open and serve drink.
So good.
But you're welcome to explore this door. It's a brown door. It has a handle on it because it is actually in use by the museum, just in case someone pops out of the secret door.
I can press this. Oh, sorry, it did something. I wasn't expecting it to do that. Laws. Is that laws or laws?
Laws.
Do I keep pressing it?
Secret doors.
Oh. Very good.
So these.
Sorry, I have to. Oh, amazing! There's like what looks like a kind of peephole or like knocker, which is gloriously rusted, and I'm opening it, and it's got a picture of what's going on behind the secret door at the basement club at the Palm Beach Hotel in 1987. It's like a vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the person who shared this photograph from their private archive. So there are about 5 people in this photo. Some of them are dressed up in drag. There would quite often be costume parties or themed parties in some of these clubs. This is, like so many things in the exhibition, the first time that some of these personal archives have been shared. We did a lot of collaboration with queer elders and encouraged them to share aspects of their story, whatever they were most comfortable sharing, for the first time. The voices on the intercom that we have here are voices of some of those community members, just as a way of weaving their voice into the exhibition. But this door and the kind of almost like the invisibility of it, it reflects what a lot of those clubs were like. People knew about them through word of mouth. There were hatches on the door that you would knock, and there'd be a unofficial security person who would let you in if they recognized you. But it's that kind of testament to the longevity of queer organizing and queer people creating queer spaces that were non-commercial spaces for people to gather, to experience queer joy and to build community.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I love that you've actually used a door that's in use as well. It's so great.
So if we have a quick look then just at this single photograph, which actually it's a wonderful black and white image of a couple standing on their wedding day outside of a church in the Old Town in Hastings. And the people are Dawn Langley Hall and John Paul Simmons. Now, we found this image. It wasn't actually the collective that found this image.
Oh,
It's
wow.
found from a different exhibition that was run by We Out Here, which was an exhibition on African Caribbean seaside memories. And this image just immediately stood out of one, there's this interracial couple, but then when we look at it closer, we're like, oh, there's a trans woman there. So we've got this amazing story of these people that they weren't actually married in the town. They were married in Charleston, I believe, in the US. And then because of the, I guess, state of play at the time, essentially fled to Hastings and had a blessing here.
Oh, wow.
in the church.
Okay.
The church still stands, and it's just a wonderful story of an interracial relationship, a trans relationship, and just something that I love the fact that we just kind of stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
And we didn't know this was here. So yeah, really, really lovely thing to see.
Yeah, it makes me think about all of the histories that are here, but they're just not seen, and how powerful it is in just shining a light on those everyday lives. It's not necessarily about someone chaining themselves to railings or, marching all the way up to Parliament. It's just living as who they are, and that being documented in a really beautiful way of a photograph, and how that photograph speaks to what happened in that moment, but also to a future self, and us here receiving that is so amazing.
Yeah. And again, just sort of echoing that idea of sort of like resistance to the constraints that are put on people throughout time in society. So there's a lot of sort of social and legal struggles that are going on within this relationship. And that's through everything, We've seen it when we looked at Vic and Joan, and also some of the other bits there. So it's a real sort of resistance through existence. I'll keep saying it, but it's just such a wonderful thing of sort of like, actually, all of these people made it. They survived. And we're seeing here images of actual joy.
Yeah.
And that's so important.
It's so important. Well, thank you both so much for meeting me here. It's been great, Victoria and Mark. I've had such an amazing time, and I'm going to tell everyone to get themselves down to Hastings.
I mean, I know you'll also find us here a lot. So every weekend,
great.
Every weekend there are collective members within the space, available to chat to, or sort of explore things further. Should also mention actually our catalogue. We have a catalogue for sale that's in the merch store. And the only reason I bring it up is it's for additional information that's not within this space. So it's all about the exhibits that are here, but it's things that maybe we can't fit everything on a flat.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice way of diving a little bit further into things.
We'll shout it out always. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What do you think about that, Adam?
Oh, it was great. It was so good to hear about all the, I mean, I love local queer history stuff anyway. And then just to hear like all the specificities. I don't know anything about Hastings apart from the battle.
Have you been there?
I have been there, yeah. I've been to a queer book festival that was held there a couple of years ago. And I went for a day and sort of like potted around a bit as well as going to the book festival. So that was really lovely. But I didn't know any of this stuff, so it was really great to hear it all. Yeah,
totally. And I don't think a lot of the collective necessarily did either. And this is what was so amazing, especially those photos of Vic. I found that really moving, as I'm sure you can hear in that audio piece, just that visibility of someone expressing their gender in that way brought me to tears. But there was also so much else within the tour that I didn't get to include in that episode. There were these secret doors that they had in the exhibition that were actually hidden themselves to sort of highlight what they were talking about in the title. The tea cozies made by people from the global majority that I mentioned earlier. There were Dungeons and Dragons dice. There was a whole section on that. They had rebuilt the cave where lots of parties happened in Hastings. It was just amazing. And there was also part of the exhibition includes one of the first safe houses for people in the country, for people who had received an AIDS diagnosis and had nowhere to turn to. So there's so much to explore, and I really would encourage everyone to head down there. It's on until the end of August. But one thing I really wanted to sort of highlight, which I was reflecting on in the sea swim that I had immediately afterwards and then on the train back, was how much care was part of this exhibition. It really felt like that was the thread tying everything together. And I found that really moving, and it just made me think about what the world could do with more care in it. So hats off to the Hastings Queer Collective.
Yeah.
It was just amazing, and well done to all of them.
And we can put a link to the exhibition in the show notes,
definitely.
Can't we? Okay, so what is coming up just now? What's coming up, Tash? What have we got? Because there's something very special
this
that
weekend.
we're doing. This weekend,
yeah. So if you haven't heard of the poet. If you haven't heard of the poet Joelle Taylor, then where have you been?
Where have you been? She's amazing.
She's amazing. She recently released a new book called Maryville, and in celebration of that, this weekend there is the Maryville Salon, which includes talks and workshops and loads of exciting things, including performances from poets and from Joelle herself at the Triangle in Deptford and at Queer Britain. And you and I, on Saturday, are going to be holding a LGBTQ plus archive writing workshop at Queer Britain at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning.
Yeah,
Queer Britain Museum in King's Cross. It'll be really, really nice to just have a bunch of people to come together who want to just do some writing on a Saturday morning, and we can just kind of guide them through it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to be a part of Joelle's salon. It's not that many poets have the power and the profile to be able to like pull together what is basically a festival, but Joelle does, so it's great to be a part of that.
She's amazing. And if you want to dig into any of her poetry, I'd recommend starting with the poem Heaven 1995, which you can see on YouTube, her reading, and she is just quite astounding as a performer.
She is. She's great. Well, that's it for this episode, I think. You can, of course, remember to subscribe on Patreon if you want those extra thought splurges from me and Tash, and also extra sort of behind-the-scenes plans and things like that, things that we're working on, as well as following us on Instagram at AuntNell_.
Yeah, I'll be writing up more detail on my review of the Seagull competition.
The Logbooks is an Aunt Nell production.
It is hosted and produced by Tash Walker and Adam Zmith.
The assistant producer is Mia Campbell. Music from Soundstripe.
Original artwork by Natalie Doto.
With thanks to the dreamboats at Acast.
There are moments that reveal who we are and who we're meant to become. For those born to lead, such moments call for a vehicle of equal distinction. Dynamic by design, uncompromising in execution, the Range Rover Sport was engineered for those rare individuals who demand the world and possess the conviction to claim it. When your time to lead arrives, you need a vehicle that rises to meet it. The Range Rover Sport. Exclusive offers available now. Explore further at rangerover.com.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.